This morning, as part of NPR's series 50 Great Voices, we bring you the story of a brilliant voice, a brilliant song, and how they came together. This is Israel Kamakawiwo'ole, the late Hawaiian musician who did something rare in music. He redefined a beloved classic. His version of Over the Rainbow has the poignancy of Judy Garland's and the shimmering vulnerability. But these days, it's heard so often on TV and in the movies, a younger generation may know only Israel's version.
Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't I?
Del Beasley remembers the first time he heard Israel sing. They were teenagers, and Israel showed up with his older brother Skippy at a graduation party.
They set up with instruments that were kind of beat up. In fact, one of the ukuleles was held together with bubble gum. As soon as Israel Kamakawiwo'ole opened his mouth and sang, that whole place went quiet.
Israel was the group's standout for his voice and also his size. Both he and his brother Skippy weighed hundreds of pounds, the girth of sumo wrestlers, and Israel was tall with flowing black hair. Then, in 1988, on his own, Israel Kamakawiwo'ole recorded a song that made him a legend. It began at 3 a.m. Milan Bertosa was at the end of a long day in his Honolulu recording studio.
And the phone rings, and there's a client of mine. He said, I've got Israel Kamakawiwo'ole here. He said, well, he wants to come and record a demo. Well, shutting down, come back tomorrow. And he said, no, here, talk to Israel. So he puts Israel on the phone. And he's this really sweet man. He's well-mannered, just kind, and, please can I come in? I got this idea.
At that, Bertosa relented and gave Israel 15 minutes to get there. Soon, there was a knock on the door.
And in walks like the largest human being I had seen in my life. Israel was probably about 500 pounds. I put up some microphones, do a quick sound check, roll tape, and the first thing he does is Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Meaning he just took his ukulele and started singing.
He played and sang, and one take, and it was over. The next day, I got Israel a copy and filed the tape away.
It would be 5 years before that tape came off the shelf. In 1993, Milan Bertosa was back in a studio with Israel making a solo album, and Bertosa had an epiphany. He fished out the recording of Over the Rainbow, and it ended up on Facing Future, still the best-selling Hawaiian album of all time, thanks to this one song.
There's been a bunch of articles written about Somewhere Over the Rainbow. He gets the lyrics wrong. He changes the melody. If you sat there with a book and a scorecard, you could count the mistakes, or you could just listen to the song and smile.
Where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top, that's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow.
Israel would only see the beginning of his song's amazing success. As he grew increasingly obese, he was in and out of the hospital. His brother Skippy had died from complications of obesity, as did all Israel's immediate family. Israel knew he was destined for a brief life, and for his producer, John DeMello, everything Israel sang and said became precious.
Every session, I would keep him for an hour afterwards and just tell me stories.
I was scared when I lost my mother, my father, my brother, my sister. I guess it's going to sound kind of weird. I'm not scared for myself for dying, because we Hawaiian. We live in both worlds. When our time comes, no cry for me, cuz. No cry for me.
In the summer of 1997, Israel Kamakawiwo'ole, by then one of the most beloved singers in the history of Hawaiian music, died of respiratory failure. He was 38. Israel's body lay in state at Hawaii's Capitol building, a rare honor. Days later, he was cremated, and his ashes carried on a traditional Hawaiian voyaging canoe.
In the old days, people would wail when the mo'i, or the king, passed away and cry. And that's really what it was. I mean, this whole island came together just to say goodbye to this one Hawaiian. He would have laughed, but I tell you that right now, he would have been laughing.